Time to talk another week of racing over at Woodbine. We have Thursday racing ahead for August the 3rd. We're going to dive into those daily racing form past performances. As always, let's look at the Formulator past performances. You can get these for free when you sign up for DRF Bets. Very simple. If you don't have a DRF Bets account, go right now to DRF Bets, sign up, use the promo code WINNING. Right off the bat, they're going to give you a $10 free bet just for registration, and then they'll give you a $250 deposit match. So you want to deposit $250 because then they will match that. So boom, you'll have $500 plus the $10 free bet, and then right away they're going to give you 10 free cards. So 10 of these free past performances for one track, Formulator, Classic, and then every time you bet another $50, you'll have a credit for another Formulator card, another Classic card. So you can get these DRF past performances for free with DRF Bets. Let's dive into those past performances and take a look at some Thursday racing. Now, Woodbine racing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thursday and Friday, they have a guarantee in the early pick 5 pool of $50,000. And then on Saturday and Sunday, the guarantee is $100,000. Always starts in race number 2, that pick 5. And in this second race on Thursday, I did not find a whole lot of early speed. What made this race difficult is that you see 3 or 4 different horses who, if they were handled aggressively, they could get the lead. None of them are need the lead types, but nobody's really dead set on getting it. I'm going to use a few horses in here who I think will be forwardly placed. The first is actually going to be the 2. It's a Birdie who adds the blinkers, and she showed speed in her first 4 starts. All of them were, within a length or so early. I think a good beginning, close up. Then, following that, we had a race on June the 16th. Take a look at the fractions and the difference in the fractions in the races in June and July, June 16th and July 6th. They went sub 23 and very fast to the half mile, the fastest half mile splits that she's ever been in. So those races, notice she's not nearly as close. Then in her last start, she's on the turf, and maybe she just doesn't like it, right? You put a line right through that race. Sometimes horses don't like a particular surface. They don't even show as much speed. She was still a little forwardly placed going longer. Can she get back to these races early on where she was pretty quick? Because whoever gets the lead in here is not going to be going that fast. I'm using It's a Birdie as a big price, who I hope her only chance, I think, in this race is being right on the lead, being close. So she has an inside draw. The blinkers are coming on. Let's just get aggressive and boom, put her right on the front end. The 5, going to be pretty tough in here. Forest Maiden. I think if you just eliminate the grass race, it's pretty tough to knock the overall form for this filly. And she is one who should be pretty close. She has a nice tracking style. I don't think she'll be too far out of it. Wouldn't be shocked if she's right on the lead. And then the 8, Smart Bid. She had a good start in that most recent race. She was tucked inside. She was 3rd. She was 4th. She was just behind the leaders. She did have some traffic. She tried to move through, and she kind of had some trouble switching leads late. But she does exit a live race where you saw the runner-up come back to win their next start with the 63 buyer at this level. And there was also another next out winner in that race. Went over to Fort Erie and won. So the race came back live. 2, 5, and 8 all over, because the 8 should be in a good spot as well. I don't think the 8 will be on the lead. I could see the 5 on the lead, and I hope the 2 is. So that's my top tier, 2, 5, and 8. You want to go deeper in the pick 5s here? Well, the 6, Machina, she obviously fits at the level. But if I'm playing this race out in my head where I don't think there's that much speed, I'm not sure if it's going to set up all that well for her, because she's not fast early and she's going to be cutting back in distance. So she could be a little far out of it early on. 4 and 9 were the others for me. Alberta Be Mine, She'll make the third start off the layoff. They're trying to figure out where she's at her best. She did break her maiden on the synthetic going 6, and she sat a good trip that day. And her 2 races this year on the grass, they haven't been bad. Overall, she's tough to kind of knock with her recent form, and she seems like she's on the improve. She should be pretty fair price in here. I prefer her over the 6 because I think she could sit closer and she'll be a better price and maybe a little more upside. And then the 9 would be another one if you were looking at or maybe using some, just getting some class relief from the outside. I feel like she's a little bit better than what we saw. She had legitimate trouble on June the 22nd. 2 starts back. She was kind of in it early and then backed up. She hasn't taken like a step forward from some of her races last year. I just got a feeling that she's better than what we've seen lately. And she's a fair price of 12-1. So one of those really difficult races that you can't get your finger on who's going to be on the lead. Could be one of a few. 2, 5, and 8 all over the place. You want to go a little bit deeper, maybe the 4, maybe the 6, maybe the 9, but lots of 2, 5s, 8s to kick off that pick 5 for me as we move to race number 3 at Woodbine. 7 furlongs on the turf course here as we dive back into the daily racing form, past performances. I love the 3, Newport Angel in this spot. Let's take a look at her race last time out. Probably going to go a little smaller on this screen just so we can get a better look here. So we have Newport Agent. And the race that we were watching was her first start or his first start since November. And this race that we're about to watch was on June the 25th. So he drew the rail this day. He had a good start. He backs up. He's inside. And all of a sudden, now look at the difference between where he started and where he is. Like he had a good start to try to keep him out of some of the traffic or maybe not have to come from this far out of it. And now all of a sudden, he's last. But still traveling well, and he gets back into it. He settles about 6th, 5 lengths off or so. Now he's he's really traveling well back on the inside. And he's going to angle around with a pretty nice sustained rally. I thought it was a good effort for his first start since November. This was going 6.5 on the turf. He'll now be going 7 on the turf. This was at a reduced level after having faced better. You'll see he's able to shift to the outside out to about the 4 path and starts to build up some momentum. It's just a nice sustained rally, kind of having a little trouble getting on the right lead there, but does continue to have some good late energy. And now with that race under him as foundation, second start off the bench, I'm expecting a really big effort from Newport Agent. You sort of go through his form on November the 27th. Let's just put a line right through that race. That was the end of his season. And he was off for a long time after that. Now dive back into his races before. They were good. He was really starting to trend up in the right direction. It's pretty lightly raced still, too, for a 5-year-old. So there could be some upside with this guy. Newport Agent. That's the horse for me. The 9, Spanish Prince, I think is a little bit intriguing, too. But I'm going to probably single the 3 in some spots. Spanish Prince could sit close. You wanted to go a little deeper. Exalt, kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum, just no speed at all. Stone cold closer. The 8. See, but these are all kind of logical horses for me. And I really like the 3 more than spreading out in a race where I'm using a few other horses that aren't even that big of price. It's not a bad thing to spread out if you're using bigger prices or a lot of bigger prices. But for me in this race, I think the 3 is the one to beat. I'm probably just going to single the 3 here, and that'll give me the opportunity in other races to use a couple more prices that I would like, or races where I don't like the shorter prices. Like the fourth race is very difficult. The 2 D only Solution will be in the mix for me. He had a fast start. He was right on the lead, but others wanted the lead. So he had to sit off a little bit. He was second. He was in the 2 path. Then he got caught in between horses. He got shuffled back to 6th. He was 3 lengths off. He moved around, then inside. It was pretty impressive visually. And he's quick, but he showed us there that he can sit off if he has to, if the trip calls for it. Horses who ran second and third that day both came back to win their next start. So the race is since live. 2 is going to be in my pick 5 and in the mix for me at a fair price for a horse who should be forwardly placed in here. And there's not that much speed again, even in this big field. He's one of the quicker. You scroll through. I'm not all that high on the 3 who's taking a big drop down. He could absolutely win at the reduced level. I just like others more. The 7 would be the next one for me. Sagimi, who I think can also sit close. Speed, but I think he may be able to fall into a good trip too from just off it. Maybe the quickest in here. Third start of the form cycle. Improved from May 6th to June 29th. Can he take one more step forward now and sort of get right back to his peak? You know, you look at his speed figure just from a pattern standpoint. His best is an 81 Beyer speed figure. Can he get just right back to that with one more step forward here? That makes him extremely competitive in this spot. The 5 was the horse who was in front of him last time out, Jack the Cat. He sort of had a weird race. He was inside. He was third, fourth. He was just behind the leaders. He was kind of shifting around. He couldn't quicken enough to hit each of the holes he needed. He certainly fits with this group on class. He just hasn't been a win machine lately. 2, 7, and 5 are on that top tier for me. You want to go a little deeper, I would look to the 9. That was Mambo in the Forest. Third start off the bench, getting back to the grass overall. Pretty good grass form. And maybe that last race kind of wakes him up a little bit. Also could give a look to the 11. Wenjack, who has shown some success on the grass. And sometimes when these horses get kind of off form, the surface switch can wake them back up. And the last 2 times we've seen him on the turf, he's run pretty well. So, again, another really challenging race, a fun pick 5 race, 2, 7, and 5 all over the place for me. If you want to go a little deeper, maybe even 9s, 11s, 3s, absolutely a playable horse, a horse who could win. But for me, way too short a price on the drop. So I'm going to take a swing against this horse and use some others. That's race 4. As we keep rolling along, let's get to the 5th race. Lots of question marks about the major contenders in here. I mean, really about most in this field, right? You got the 1 Boston Tea Party, who's a total wild card. We haven't seen this horse in over a year. Comes here now as a first-time gelding, draws the rail on the turf. No idea. Bayesian Bullet. Is he in a little too tough here? The blinkers come off for Cause and Mayhem. Third start off the bench, gets back to a turf sprint. Like, pretty honest. You think you're going to get a good accounting of himself in this spot? I really like the 4 in here a little bit, though. In a race like this, where I think you have a lot of wild cards, I'm going to look for some value. So, some reasoning for the 4, Dream. Let's take a look at the dam, Lexi Tapp. She was a winner on the turf. She was in the money in 5 of 11 of her turf starts. This is the first full to race. Check the box, dam 1 on the turf. Blinkers come on. First time gelding. She's going to make the third start off the long layoff, and you get very, very live jock aboard. Our buddy Barry calls this the makeover package. When you see a lot of like different things happening for horses, sometimes they put the blinkers on, you get a rider switch, you get a first time gelding, you're getting a surface switch. It's like they know that they've got more in this horse and they're trying to get it. Dream. The number 4 in the mix for me, no doubt. They went slowly last time. He was just too far back early. And now, hopefully, those blinks can just get a little more focus in him. 794 Expos, probably the horse to beat. I'm a little concerned, though, just about some of like the works. There's no published work since July the 8th. You're supposed to believe that there's nothing in a month. I don't love that. We're just talking about company lines. I mean, 2 starts back, he runs into New York Thunder. He's second in this race. New York Thunder comes back and wins the Amsterdam with 110 buyer. So off of that, this horse is going to get bet. I'm a little worried with that, right? Like as a gambler, what are we supposed to do if we don't see any works at all? I'm supposed to believe this horse hasn't worked in 3 weeks and is now in here. 794 Expos. The 1 Boston Tea Party, who we mentioned earlier, I mean, this is a horse who hasn't raced since July of last year. A first-time gelding comes in here. The rail draw, it's really going to force him. I think they just have to send this horse really hard from the inside. And right next door, you'll have some speed. Bajan Bullet's not nearly as fast, but between that one and what do they choose to do with a horse like 94 Expos? I wouldn't be shocked if they wanted to get aggressive with this horse and not try to get too cute. The 8C to air is also going to go. So life could be difficult for the 1 if 2 or 3 others all push this horse a bit and he's coming off a year-long layoff down on the inside. The 6, Victoria's Chief. He's been really consistent overall. Right? He has some form at Gulfstream Park that's pretty good against Florida breds. Comes over here to Woodbine and wins in his first start on the Woodbine turf. He's going to be coming from off the pace. My major concern is now he's cutting back from 1 mile and a 16th to 6 here. Like he could be way out of it early. If he's able to stay in touch, though, the price should be fair. 4 is the horse I like. Then I think both the 1 and the 7 are wild cards. The 6 is another horse that I'm fine using. And then what do we do with the 3? Causing mayhem. Can this horse get back to the May 28th race? Going 6.5 on the turf, that's a good effort. The Gulfstream Park races are not bad. This is a horse who was in the Queen's Plate last year after the 3rd place finish in the plate trial. So a horse who's had talent and ability, can he now put it all together and maybe it'll be as a turf sprinter? So I'd say 4s and 3 for sure's all over. I'm probably going to use the 1. I think I'm more warm to the 1 than I am the 7. I just don't like this recent pattern with the no works. So 4, 1, 3 in the mix for me. Some 6s. What are we going to do with the 794 Expos? Let's move to race number 6. And we'll close out the pick 5 here. 2 horses that I like that I would be okay with closing out my my pick 5 with the 5 and the 7. I'm Snow Angel. Both of her races just scream for a horse that wants a little more distance. So on the June 11th race, she was slow early. She was last of 10. She was about 10 lengths off. Maybe about 15 lengths off in that debut. And the winner won going gate to wire that day and won by 5. And she was moving late. She's only beaten 7 plus in a race when the winner won by 5, and she's out of it by 15. Then on July the 7th, she gets a little more distance to work with. She's going 6 furlongs. She, her start was better, but then she kind of backs up to last, about 10 lengths off. She sort of gets outrun right after the start, and she got going again. She finishes 4th, the second place finisher that day, came back to win their next start, Lantana Lady. And the third place finisher, Cherry Gardens, was in the race behind Lantana Lady and had a little trouble there. So the extra distance helps. She has to start a little bit better. She might need blinkers. I don't know. I'm not a trader, right? But I see horses like this, and I think maybe the blinkers will help them get a little focus. Or the 5, I guess she just didn't really like it down on the inside. She was 4th or 5th. She was in the 2 path. She was in between. She was not in a good spot. She just kept shuffling back. She tried to come on again. She didn't seem to be comfortable where she was. Can we be forgiving about that race and then look back at her race on May the 5th, which would stack up really well in here? Her race last year on November the 10th would stack up very well in here. In her debut, she lost to Ticker Tape Home, who we've seen come back to good success. She was your beaten favorite in that race on May the 27th. So 5 and 7 all over the place for me. I like the 7 if you're looking for a horse to bet. I'd want like at least 9-2 though on I'm Snow Angel. And then after those two, if you were going to go deeper, the 3, Silent Tribute. Blinkers, come on. She can show speed, but she can also press. The 4, Mountain Sound, pace factor in here. They can get back to the speed they showed in the debut, and I think they would like to. Her form overall is not bad. She's a little sneaky. So, if you're looking for a price horse in this race to close it out, I wouldn't have a problem throwing the 4 in. The 2, first-time starter. Dam was a 3-time winner, 6 multiple winners out of 10 siblings to race. Barn very good. First time out, like plenty of things to like here. 6.5 isn't the easiest distance in which to debut. That always something I take a second look at. And then you got the 8, Miss Waterloo. Another one who she's going to make a 3rd start of her form cycle. She's shown a little bit of speed. She's also shown that she can pass horses a bit. I like others more. So we'll try to close things out with 5, 7. The 4 was that fun price play. The 3, Silent Tribute. Another one. The 2, Look How Pretty. If you wanted to go a little deeper, I mean, she would not shock at all. Major player, first-time starter. And then the 8. Thursday, August the 3rd. That's your pick 5 over at Woodbine. Good luck in the sequence. Remember, free past performances when you sign up for DRF Bets. Use the promo code WINNING. Head on over there right now and get signed up, and we'll have plenty more coverage of the races for you this week. We'll have Del Mar, Saratoga, Woodbine, and it's a big weekend at Louisiana Downs on Saturday. Huge fields. They have 6 stakes races at Louisiana Downs, so we'll have some videos just like this. We'll have some handicapping help on That's What G Said podcast. Come on and hang out with us, and let's have a great week playing the races.